At the beginning of the story, we see a girl getting ready to go out. She steps out of her house and locks the door behind her. While waiting for the elevator, she starts hearing some noises coming from below. Curious, she looks down and sees a strange woman standing there. The woman suddenly raises her head and stares up at the girl with eerie eyes that she continuously opens wide, making her look very dangerous. Terrified, the girl rushes back into her apartment and locks the door from the inside. But it becomes clear that this woman is not ordinary, as she had been watching the girl's house closely. In a swift motion, the woman breaks down the door and enters. The girl, now even more frightened, hides in a closet, peeking out to see that the strange woman had indeed entered her home. As the girl watches, the woman suddenly vanishes from sight, only to reappear right behind her, revealing her immense power. Before the girl can react, the woman grabs her by the neck and drags her into darkness, merging with her. The scene cuts off here. A few days later, we see a boy named Andrew visiting a girl named Mara for help. Mara possesses a unique ability to read minds and alter people's thoughts. Andrew explains his problem, revealing that he wants to win back his wife's love. He shares how some goons once broke into his home, assaulted him, and began to mistreat his wife. Scared, Andrew ran to the neighbors for help instead of defending his wife. By the time he returned with the neighbors, the goons had fled, but the incident left a deep impact on his wife, who lost their child as a result. She was pregnant at the time, and now she blames Andrew for what happened. Though they still live together, their relationship is no longer the same, and his wife constantly dwells on that traumatic day. Mara, after listening to Andrew, cuts him off, telling him that he doesn't need to explain further because she already knows everything through her powers. She asks him what he wants. Andrew requests that Mara erase the memory of that day from his wife's mind so they can start fresh and be happy again. Mara advises him to be patient and give his wife time to heal, suggesting that she might recover on her own. But she also offers her help if things don't improve, asking him to return if necessary. Feeling conflicted, Andrew declines her offer, saying he would try to resolve things on his own, and leaves. Andrew returns home with flowers, expressing his love and apologizing to his wife, urging her to forget the past and that unfortunate incident. However, his words have no effect on her. She coldly dismisses him without much of a response, leaving him heartbroken. Realizing he has no other choice, Andrew goes back to Mara for help. Mara gives him a special mushroom and instructs him to mix it into his wife's food. She assures him that once his wife eats it, she will forget all her painful memories and everything will return to normal. However, in return, Mara asks Andrew to take care of her mushrooms while she is out of town for a few months. She tells him that these mushrooms are very special to her, and once a month, a man will come to check on them. Andrew, thinking the task is easy, agrees. The next day, Andrew mixes the mushroom into a cake and leaves it on the table for his wife. Uncertain whether it will work, he watches from a distance. As soon as his wife eats the cake, she comes to Andrew and starts speaking to him lovingly, saying exactly what he had longed to hear for years. She tells him that she wants to forget everything and start a new life with him, even forgiving him for the past. However, she also expresses a desire to move out of their current house, as she feels suffocated there. Overjoyed by his wife's return to her old self, Andrew agrees, and they decide to move into Mara's house, where he will also take care of the mushrooms as per the agreement. At Mara's house, Andrew's wife feels comfortable and happy, although she notices that the closets are often locked. However, this doesn't bother her, and she happily settles in. The couple enjoys a few good days together, but soon, strange things begin to happen. Andrew's wife starts feeling as though someone is watching her, which is connected to the traumatic memories of the goons, even though she has forgotten the incident itself. The fear and shock of losing her child linger in her mind, manifesting as visions of the goons appearing everywhere. Meanwhile, Andrew begins to experience strange occurrences as well. He frequently sees a child who tries to warn him about the dangers ahead, urging him to leave the house and avoid Mara's trap before it's too late. The child told Andrew, "Never listen to her. Try to solve your problems on your own." After saying this, the child disappeared. As if that wasn't unsettling enough, Andrew began to see a horse inside the house. The horse would vanish whenever it came close to Mara. Confused and unable to understand what was happening, Andrew called Mara to tell her about these strange occurrences. Mara reassured him, saying, "Don't worry. These are just some side effects of the mushroom your wife consumed. Because you are her husband, you're also experiencing these things alongside her. But remember, none of this is real." However, Mara's explanation did little to comfort Andrew because one morning, as they were sleeping, an unknown man appeared in their room, staring at them. Andrew's wife woke up first and, seeing the man standing right in front of her, was terrified. She quickly woke Andrew, who then told the man to leave the room, saying, "I'll come out and talk to you." The man turned out to be the one Mara had mentioned, the person who checks the mushrooms every month. Andrew, annoyed by the intrusion, scolded him. "What kind of person are you? You shouldn't have barged into our room like this." The strange old man simply replied, "My work is done. I'll be back next month," and then left. Andrew then returned to his wife, trying to comfort her and help her relax. The next day, while Andrew was at work, his wife felt uneasy and scared being alone in the house. She decided to wait for Andrew outside his office. When he saw her, Andrew was surprised but happy. They returned home together and spent some quality time with each other. But the following day, while Andrew was at work again, his wife started feeling strange at home. This time, she heard the sound of a child crying. The sound triggered something within her, making her anxious. She immediately called Andrew and said, "We need to think about having a child." Then she abruptly hung up the phone. When Andrew returned home from work, he found his wife in a very disturbing state. She was sitting on the ground, naked, crying uncontrollably. Andrew quickly covered her and tried to comfort her, but she was out of control. Somehow she had remembered everything from that traumatic day. Enraged, she lashed out at Andrew, screaming, "Why didn't you save me that day? Why did you run away in fear?" She started hitting him, overwhelmed by her emotions. Andrew, unsure of what to do, tried to calm her down by holding her, but he was baffled at how she had suddenly remembered everything. Desperate, Andrew tried to call Mara, but her number was blocked. He then contacted the friend who had referred him to Mara. His friend revealed, "I found out about Mara from an online post. I don't actually know her. We never met." This left Andrew even more confused. Determined to find out more, he decided to meet the owner of the house to get more information about Mara. After some investigation, a woman informed him that Mara was the owner of the house. She had bought the house in 1948 and had been living there ever since. Hearing this, Andrew was shocked and couldn't comprehend what was happening. How is this possible, he thought. This house belongs to Mara, and the woman said she bought it in 1948. That was so long ago. But how could a young woman like Mara be the owner? He didn't have time to dwell on these thoughts, as his priority was his wife's well-being. When Andrew reached the place where his wife was being treated, he found that she no longer recognized him. It seemed the side effects of the mushroom had wiped out all her memories related to him. To make matters worse, she was wearing Mara's favorite red dress, indicating that she was now completely under Mara's control. Distressed, Andrew returned home, only to find that Mara's room, which had been locked since they moved in, was now open. He was shocked to see this, but he didn't think much of it, assuming his wife might have opened it. Andrew noticed that his wife had taken clothes from Mara's room, which had been locked since they moved in. Curious, he started exploring the room, where he discovered some old photographs of Mara. In one of the pictures, the old man who used to check the mushrooms was also present. This unsettled Andrew. He moved a cupboard aside and found a hidden passage behind it. Entering the passage, Andrew found himself in another room, where he discovered some military items like uniforms, caps, and documents. While trying to make sense of it all, the same girl he had seen earlier appeared. She showed him a photograph of Mara sitting on a horse while soldiers, under her command, were brutally killing innocent people. Among these soldiers was Mara's father. The realization that Mara was such a dangerous woman terrified Andrew. The girl then pulled him out of his thoughts and led him out of the room. Andrew asked her, "What was all that about?" The girl then revealed the truth. Mara is actually a witch, which is why she's been alive for so many years and still appears young. She trapped you in her web. You need to leave this place, take your wife with you, and never come back. Taking the girl's advice, Andrew began searching for his wife, but she was nowhere to be found. She had mysteriously disappeared, likely due to Mara's influence. Desperate, Andrew tried to find more information about Mara on the internet. He suddenly recalled the old man from the photographs in Mara's room, standing near a tower. Andrew searched online for the location of that tower and eventually reached it. After searching for a while, he found the old man, but the man's condition was deteriorated. The old man tricked Andrew into entering his house and then made him unconscious with an electric shock. When Andrew woke up, he found himself in a car with the old man driving. Andrew, confused and scared, asked, "What do you want? Where are you taking me?" The old man revealed, "Mara has held my wife captive, and I'm going to exchange you for her. I'll free my wife in exchange for your life." It was then that Andrew realized the woman who had been taken away at the beginning was actually the old man's wife, and that the mysterious woman was Mara in disguise. The old man then shared the most important detail. "Mara is a witch who preys on people's regrets. She chose me because I used to beat my wife when I was drunk, and I regretted it deeply. Mara took advantage of my guilt and trapped both me and my wife." The old man eventually brought Andrew to a strange place where glowing mushrooms covered the walls. His wife was chained there, looking frail and weak. The old man promised his wife, "Don't worry, I'll free you today in exchange for this man." However, his wife was sad and reluctant to let another person suffer in her place, but she had no choice. As they waited, a strange car emerged from Mara's lair, and the old man warned Andrew, "Soon, your wife will be brought here as well." We then see Andrew's wife, terrified and running away from the goons who were chasing her. The goons, controlled by Mara's dark magic, captured the old man's wife and transformed her into a horse. The old man was helpless as Mara's sinister magic turned him into a horse as well. Afterward, Mara locked the room and left. A while later, Andrew's wife, still running from the goons, stumbled into the same room. She was terrified, and it became clear that she had never left Mara's house. She had been there all along. Finally, Andrew's wife arrived, just as Mara had predicted. Andrew tried to calm her down, but she started to see Andrew as one of the goons, which frightened her so much that she jumped out of the window, taking her own life. Andrew, shocked and devastated, rushed downstairs to find her, only to discover that the dead woman wasn't his wife but the old man's wife, whom Mara had murdered. Mara had staged it so that everyone would believe Andrew had pushed her, thereby trapping him in a deadly situation. The police arrived and arrested Andrew, believing him to be the murderer. His wife, however, was never there. She was still under Mara's influence. Even after all this, Mara was not satisfied. She had Andrew bailed out and brought back to her house. Once there, Andrew returned to the strange room with the glowing mushrooms. He noticed a pit in the room, and remembering that Mara had emerged from it before, he decided to dive in, hoping to find his wife. But instead of finding his wife, Andrew was transported back to a different time, one that seemed to be from a very long time ago. Confused, Andrew looked around and saw a house in the distance with lights on. As he started walking toward it, the little girl appeared again and stopped him. She led him to a farm and showed him another photograph to help him understand Mara's true nature. The picture depicted the events of 1948, when Mara was a little girl. It showed soldiers attacking her village, demanding the villagers hand over their horses. The villagers refused, knowing it would destroy their livelihood. Desperate, the villagers begged the soldiers not to take their horses. The soldiers then offered a deal. "Give us Mara, and we'll only take half of your horses." The villagers, in their desperation, agreed to the deal. Even her dad agreed to this deal. The soldiers picked up Mara and took her with them, along with half the horses, and let half the villagers stay. They brought Mara to the house where she now lives, and there she was tortured a lot. Because of this, Mara was very angry and decided to take revenge on her villagers. She learned black magic and became a witch. With the help of this black magic, she controlled all the soldiers and made them attack the villagers, killing everyone, including her dad. Now, because she became a witch due to her bad deeds, she trapped many married people. She would kill them, making the girl very boring and turning Hespers into a horse with her dangerous powers. Then she would eat their flesh, which she liked a lot. She did the same with the old man, targeting people like him and Andrew, who lived their lives with regret. With their regret, she became more powerful. This is why she is still alive and young, able to change into different forms. After realizing this, Andrew started moving towards the house where his wife and Mara were living. His wife came out and told him to run away because she knew everything. Mara had told her that her husband loved her a lot and came to her because he was worried about her. But Andrew did not leave. Instead, he went inside the house where Mara was sitting. She was very happy to see Andrew and said, "Come, come, I was waiting for you. You came to save her, but now I will test your love. If you succeed, I will let you go." Andrew agreed. Mara sent him back to the time when the goons had entered his house and were misbehaving with his wife. This time, he did not run, but tried to fight them. He attacked one of them with a knife, but was injured badly. He could only watch the misbehavior with his wife, unable to do anything. Then Mara came to him and said, "If you want, you can stop all this. You don't have to do much, just eat that mushroom." But by now, Andrew understood that all this was not real. Mara was trying to trap him by making it seem real. So he immediately came out of the house and told his wife to run away. But by then, Mara had attacked both of them, beating them a lot. Mara loved those mushrooms, which she made with her dangerous powers. So Andrew's wife set fire to them. Mara was very scared. As soon as she came forward, Andrew and his wife took the chance to escape from the house where the fire had spread all around. The little girl helped them get out and then went back into the house, closing the door. Mara's companion burned and rained. It was revealed that the little girl was actually Mara's childhood form, her soul. Because she was little Mara, her heart was clear, and she always wanted to save Andrew and his wife. She sacrificed herself to save them completely. With Mara, she also burned and rained. Andrew and his wife came out through a hole. He was very injured and his wife cried a lot, hugging him. She forgave him, and they decided to start a happy life together, free from people like Mara who would take undue advantage of them. Their journey began with Andrew supporting his wife, and with this happy ending, the film ends.